Three extreme climate events around the globe, which many believe are linked by man-made climate change. A record heat wave in Japan, major flooding in Australia, and a deadly avalanche in northern Italy.
From heat waves to heavy flooding, extreme weather events have caused widespread upheaval.
The world is getting hotter. Oppressive heat now stretching coast to coast.
Canada, the US, Cyprus, India, Iraq and Kuwait have seen scorching temperatures.
Emissions of greenhouse gases need to peak within the next 3 years if we're to stave off the worst effects of climate change.
Climate change. Even though many people still say I don't believe in climate change, we know for sure that it's affecting our daily basis. And news like this won't stop until we change. An increase in the atmosphere concentration of greenhouse gases produces a positive climate forcing or warming effect. From 1990 to 2019, the total warming effect from greenhouse gases added by humans to the Earth's atmosphere increased by 45%. But the real question really relies on where do these gases come from? Livestock production, primarily from cows, produces 14.5% of global greenhouse gas emissions, the majority of which is in the form of methane, a strong greenhouse gas that is a natural byproduct of how some livestock process food. Welcome to another podcast of What Matters Today. We're going to talk about livestock production, greenhouse gases, and furthermore, how they are related with a cow meat diet and other social and environmental implications. Stay tuned for more.
It is unbelievable that to obtain 1 kilogram of meat, 15,000 liters of water are needed. Not only that, but during the last 20 years, world meat consumption has increased by 58%, reaching 360 million tons. The Harvard School of Public Health already said in 1990 that there was a relationship between meat consumption and the incidence of cancer. The World Health Organization released its report 25 years later, in 2015, and pointed out the same thing, that processed meat is carcinogenic and red meat probably too. This means it is a serious issue for our health. Not only that, but 14.5% of CO2 emissions come from cattle raising, and Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth have asked the European Commission to recommend eating less and better meat, milk and eggs in the strategy that Brussels is preparing in favor of more sustainable agriculture and fishing.
Moreover, meat consumption brings within a large amount of issues regarding people's health, environmental impact, and unethical practices. By having a meat-based diet, you are contributing to the release of greenhouse gases, which end up being hazardous and taking part in climate change and global warming, which currently are extremely preoccupying due to their magnitude, causing not only mass panic but feelings of uncertainty all around. It is not an unknown fact that meat consumption goes hand in hand with animal suffering because animal welfare is completely neglected at production sites, and participating in this has its strong effect of where we stand morally and why we keep on engaging on such damaging act. This is just a few of the reasons why eating meat is a very concerning matter. It is saddening and irresponsible to be aware of such a major problem that only amplifies the issues we are facing globally. And this is why we have to take accountability and do something to fix it as soon as possible.
Specifically, this is important in three main dimensions, which are people's lives, our planet Earth, and global peace. Regarding the first one, science has proven that eating a meat-based diet has significant negative effects on health on the long run, which is why replacing these foods with healthier options would improve people's quality of life. Also, the environmental effects of animal agriculture are getting worse by the minute, as we know, for example, that this activity is responsible for 18% of greenhouse gas emissions, which is more than the combined exhaust from all transportation. Therefore, migrating to cleaner ways of feeding humans would ease the pressure we're currently exerting to our planet Earth. Actually, livestock covers 45% of the Earth's total land, which touches one of the central topics that has inspired wars in places like our local Colombia. Here, many of the disputes in rural areas are because of land control, and especially its economic potential for illegal armed groups. That is why treating animal agriculture properly would improve people's lives, build a more sustainable planet for humanity, and enhance peace around the globe, reducing conflicts around land distribution.
In conclusion, after listening to the environmental problems that impact people, peace, and planet, we highlight the importance of foundations and NGOs that are committed to monitoring the sustainable development of the world. Therefore, our main concern is the effects of environmental pollution, and in short, it affects the three levels as we mentioned above. Therefore, as business students and citizens of the world, we must be concerned and take real action to mitigate the effects of environmental pollution.
This is the ending of our podcast. Thank you for listening. We hope you have reflected about your impact on climate change and the importance of our diet. See you next Friday.
The team that worked on this podcast is Santiago Gómez was the director, María Daunas was the editor, Juan Delgado was the special guest, Manuela Marin was the investigator, and Sofía Orrego was the leader investigator.